Guys, and welcome. Nastya, you want to join? Hi guys. So first of all, thank you to everybody who has joined already. Thank you to everybody who's going to join throughout the evening. And hello also to everybody who's going to watch the recording of this live stream after it went public. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. So what we're going to do today, we're going to do the traditional Swiss fondue. We have all the stuff already prepared here, so I'm going to walk you through how it's being done. And trust me when I say it's actually really important to know how to do it, because we know for a fact that once you're taking the exam to become a Swiss citizen, except for linguistic exams, you're also being asked about trivia on on trivia on Switzerland, and one of the questions is actually what are the ingredients, how do you make fondue. So this is what we're gonna do today and to show you. Of course, the entire idea of this live stream is also for you to ask questions. So whatever questions you have, please don't hesitate to ask. Ask them in the live chat. We'll try to answer as best as we can. But also, the main reason for this live stream today is that we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary of this channel. So we decided not to make a video, we decided to go live. Because of the constraints around the world, we cannot really make a meetup. We wanted to make a physical meetup in Geneva. Unfortunately, it's not possible right now. So we wanted to go live and to talk to you, to have the opportunity to hang out, and for you to ask any questions that you might have about living in Switzerland, living in Geneva, working here, about this channel, about us, about Luigi, whatever you want to know. If we can answer, we'll be more than happy to answer. So once again, this is the 1 year anniversary. Exactly a year ago today, I've uploaded my first video, and as it usually happens, the first video is horrible. Like the first time you ride your bicycle, the first time you swim.
It wasn't.
It's not great. It was a cringe fest. But you cannot make your 10th video if you don't make your first one. So having had that experience and looking back at the year that we have had together on this channel, I'm really happy to see that we managed to build this community. The channel has 70,000 views, which I'm very happy about, even though it's in the scale of YouTube not all that much. Hi Luigi. And we've gathered 9,000 subscribers, which I'm really, really happy about. But what I think is the most rewarding to me is the hundreds and thousands of messages, comments, and DMs I got from you. I think this was always the most rewarding part of the channel. You've reached out to me, or you've reached out to us, sharing sometimes very intimate stories about your dreams, about your goals, about your plans of moving here. And it just humbles me to think that you want to share those stories and those plans with somebody who you don't have to necessarily know, a guy that posts those videos on YouTube, and you shared those stories, and it made me really, really happy. The human connection that we've made was just so rewarding, and I'm also so happy to see that there's actually a small but continuously growing group of people who watched this channel when they were planning to move, and now they're in Geneva. So we're gonna be organizing meetups for those people as well. Obviously when the conditions with Corona are gonna change. And so first of all, this live stream is for you, to say from me, from us, from all of us, to say thank you for the fact that you decide to spend your days, evenings, mornings watching our content. It's like, it makes us so happy. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. We are monitoring them on the computer here. If you have any questions, just you can write a short comment with your name, where you're from, and what is your question. And yeah, in the meanwhile, we're gonna start making the fondue. So,
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Since you're gonna be preparing it, because let's be honest, I'm not really good at making fondue.
No, that's not true. We have a lot of experience, both of us.
I'll try to assist you a little bit and read the comments that you receive, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Happy 1 year anniversary of the channel. It's a great one. Totally love it. Miki is doing a great job.
Thank you so much, Lala. It's so kind of you. Really, it's thank you for your continuous support. You've been watching and commenting on the channel from the very beginning. It makes us so happy. Thank you for your support, really. And we are looking forward to doing something together and collaborating as well.
And then we have someone called Laila Wysocka. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And she's saying, fast forward 5 years, I'll be one of the million subscribers saying, oh, I was here from the beginning.
at the end, it's not about the numbers, but that will make me so happy. What I think what's the most important for me is that we make this content, and what I'm hoping for is that it just brings you value. I mean, we've been moving here also not that long ago, so I know that you have a lot of questions about stuff big and small when moving here. It's Switzerland is not EU; it's a little bit of a different country, so you have a lot of questions, and we had them as well. So being here, we just want to share the experiences, so that's a little bit easier for you. And yeah, let's hop into to make the fondue, I guess, right? So we got the pot here, which is like this most classic pot that you can have for fondue. It comes in a set. We bought it here in Switzerland. But I think it's also a big thing to get those like as a wedding gift in the States as well. So basically this is like this system where you put the pot on this, and then you have the heater in the bottom. Let me show you that in case somebody doesn't know how these look. It's basically like petroleum jelly inside, and that's how you light it up. But you don't light it up right away, so you need a package of any brand will do. Of course, package of cheese. It has like those little bits of cheese, basically. So this is the best way to melt it. We'll need some wine, of course, white. We will be using nutmeg. So this we'll have already prepared here, and we will also be using cornstarch. Actually, you don't have to use cornstarch. It's only there if you overdid the wine and the whole mixture is a little bit too, let's say, fluid. Then you add a little bit of cornstarch to make it more thick, and garlic.
And the bread.
Of course, the bread. Nastia will be cutting the baguette. Let's start with this. I took two garlic cloves, chopped it into 2 pieces, so we have 4 each. And we're just gonna really actually kind of rub the garlic on the bottom and the insides of the pot, so it gives off a little bit of this garlicky taste to it. I'm gonna use all the 4 pieces, so there's really this kind of garlic taste on it. And that's gonna give it a nice texture and a nice taste to it. There you go. And the 4th one, so like it's really evenly distributed, and I just leave the cloves of garlic inside. We're gonna be doing it here on the stove first. You never do it on the burner right away, because that's just gonna it might work, but it's gonna first of all take ages, and I'm actually not even sure if it's gonna melt it completely. Hi Justina. Hi guys. So now we're gonna be adding the cheese. I'm gonna really add maybe 1/4 of this package. By the way, the package is 600 grams. It says it's for 3 or 4 people, but who are we kidding? We're easily gonna eat it in the 2 of us. I mean.
And it's moitié, so it's
yes,
half.
Exactly. So it's that means that it's half Gruyere and half I don't know what other type of cheese. So I'm pouring like 1/4 of the bag in there, something like this, and I'm gonna top it off with. You're gonna use a lot of wine for this, so if you think it's like 1/4 cup that goes there, it's really not. So what I'm pouring here is I poured roughly almost 2 cups, and I'm gonna let it sit there a little bit. Nastia here in the meanwhile is preparing the baguette. It's fresh baguette from this morning, and Nastia is chopping them in like quarters of roughly this size, because we're gonna be dipping them in the cheese. Thanks very much. Basically the fire is like medium high. Don't overdo it, because it's gonna burn right away in the bottom, and you really don't want that. So on let's say 60% heat, I will let it mix. So as you can still see here, basically it's still little pieces of cheese, and the wine is just getting hot, and then it will start slowly dissolving. I'm gonna add the nutmeg right away. just a little bit. And the garlic is already inside. So what you don't see is there's you guys watching, but also who always watches us do anything in the kitchen is this guy. He never really gets human food because that's not really good for him, but he's always watching and hope that he will. So hello Luigi. He's sending his regards to all of you guys. Oh. Yep. So that's working. It's way on the gas. It's gonna slowly warm up and start dissolving. In the meantime, we wanted to share with you. We spoke about this a little bit on the channel in the past, but we really wanted to share the entire story of how we got here. So right now it's December 2020, and in March it's gonna be 3 years. Yes, in March it's gonna be 3 years since I live here. Xavere? Yes. So exactly. So what Xavere is mentioning here is that the burn part is the best on the bottom. So we're trying not to burn it here. This is just warming up. But once we put it here on this burner, what's gonna happen is on the bottom there's gonna be this little layer of burnt cheese, which is called Le Religieuse. And apparently the story, I don't know if it's 100% true or if it's like an urban myth, but the reason this is called that is actually Switzerland has not always been the country that is as wealthy as it is right now. Still 200-300 years ago, this was a agricultural country, and if you're trying to do agriculture in a country which is mostly hills, that's quite tough. So before the two big world wars, this was not a very wealthy country. So actually fondue is quite a simple dish actually, and a very cheap one to make. You have bread, you have cheese, and pretty much nothing left nothing except for this. So actually you can get full really cheaply. And so that's kind of the background of fondue. And so the little crust, let's say burnt cheese that happens on the bottom is called la religieuse because, and once again I'm not sure if that's a true story, but it's a little bit of an urban myth. The story is that basically after a family would be done with eating their fondue, they would put the pot with this little burned part on the windows in their houses, like in a village, for the monks and priests and nuns to have something to eat on. And so this shows also how difficult the situation has been, but this has been ages and ages ago. Hello there, Krzychu, hi. So let's see how this is going. Slowly warming up. As you can see, it's still like little pieces of cheese, but it's slowly becoming to be like a little bit milky, which means that the first chunks of cheese have already started to dissolve. We have a question. Are furnished apartments for rent rare in Geneva? In most cases, one has to spend a few thousand on furniture when moving. Okay, yeah, so that's actually a very valid question. That's something that we've been also really worried when we came here. So basically the standard is that, of course, it really depends from case to case, but the standard is that the apartments are not furnished. This apartment, for example, this apartment when we moved in was just after renovation, and the kitchen was here, yeah, because you cannot really take those off the walls, so this was here. And actually the stove and the fridge were also here. And the reason I'm saying that, it sounds a little ridiculous, but this is not actually standard. So you will have a lot of apartments where you actually have to have your stove, your oven, and the fridge for yourself. It's not always like that, but this is actually very often the case. So in this case, we actually had we had the fridge, we had the oven, we had the burning plate. We had to buy, but actually everything else we had to buy. So basically, the kitchen is here because you cannot really rip it off the wall. But literally everything else was ours. We brought with us. And the washing machine we also had to buy. We have the washing machine in the apartment. Actually, the reason why I'm mentioning is that this is also not standard. A lot of apartments have this kind of communal washing space in the basement, which I was surprised to hear about it at first, but it seems to be quite normal for the Swiss people, and it's not as surprising for them. So when I was a little bit perplexed in the beginning when I heard about it, and apparently it's quite standard. But I mean, it does happen that people are moving in, and when you come and see the apartments, they're gonna like say, listen, I can sell the furniture to somebody else, or I can leave it slash sell it to you. So that happens quite often. And that's going to be a great chance for you to get some furniture.
I think you have a very valid question here. Okay, but where is the booze?
Yeah, so the booze is of course in the fondue. I'm actually not sure if we can like drink on YouTube, or is this going to be banned. I'm not sure what are the regulations on this. I know we cannot smoke tobacco on YouTube because it's a big no-no. I don't know for alcohol, so we're just really using it for cooking, and that's that. So, but thank you, Mariusz. That's definitely a valid question. Laila, did I answer your question with the furniture? Is there anything else you would like to know? So basically, yeah, mostly they're unfurnished. It happens that there will be furniture. You can buy it from the previous owner, so that's a good opportunity. Otherwise, you can always get it from IKEA. Gabriel, congrats on the 1 year. Keep it up. A nice idea for today. Thank you so much. Once again, the idea, basically the initial idea was, Gigi, come here, baby. Take it.
Sorry,
he's really excited because we don't do those live streams every day, so he really doesn't know exactly what's going on. The initial idea for today was to make a live meetup, and I was still hoping to do that when I was thinking about the 1 year anniversary in the summer. But then the regulations have changed, and in Switzerland all the bars and restaurants are closed, so obviously that's not possible. Which is great because, I mean, this way we can meet all of you guys from different parts of the world. I see a lot of comments also coming from Poland, from India, so this wouldn't have been possible. But once the lockdown is over, we're definitely gonna also do a meetup here for those who are already in Geneva.
I can read you the question if you want.
Yeah, sure.
So we have another question from Rishab Chaudhary. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. Hi from India. I stayed in Geneva for UN in July. I saw a huge street fest with people having fun and dancing in some sort of annual road show. Would you happen to know what it's called? That's actually a good question. In July?
It could have been, did they have bicycles? Because, in pre-corona times, there is often in summer, there's this like events where people get on bicycles and there's music, and so maybe this was this. Otherwise, to be honest, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's generally a street parade, I'm pretty sure in Zurich, that's the most famous one, but I don't think it's that big in Geneva, so sorry about that. Also with the quarantine, I think we've forgotten about all kinds of celebrations, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But Risha, please share your story. How did you like Geneva? Did you enjoy it? While being here, how long did you spend in July? That's interesting. In July.
Trucks and music and booze. Actually, there was a food truck festival last July, which could have been this, but there was no occasion. It's just a street.
Yeah, exactly. So last year there was this really nice food truck festival on the other side of the lake, where there was just basically food and music, but this was already, well, not previous summer, but the summer before that, so way before Corona. Yes, Luigi's not a baby anymore. That's true. Like, he's been growing. Also, on this channel, you can see the videos from May or June, when he was really a baby, and now he grew a little bit.
I think that's a really valid question. Let's say you get a job offer. Does it ever happen that the company helps out with living space for a first month or two?
Yes. Oh, that's a super valid question. So basically the majority of, let's say, office work in Geneva is either banks, private banks, trading companies, or international organizations. And so, of course, it depends from one employer to the other. But and also depends on the position that you're going to be doing. If it's for an internship, maybe not necessarily. And Luigi is being a really needy boy today. So it really depends on the occasion. But very often the companies will at least contribute to you moving. So, for example, either they're going to contribute to the move itself. So, for example, fund the company that is going to move your belongings from wherever you're from to Switzerland. There is also I know it happens quite a lot. If you're coming here, they're gonna rent a company that is gonna be like, let's say it's not really only a real estate agency, it's a relocation agency, so it does a little bit of more stuff for you. So I've mentioned this at least in a couple of videos that I made. The housing market is really tough in Geneva. So to get an apartment, you have to see dozens of them, you know, and very often because the demand is so big, it's really. Oh, hi Marlena, hi. Because the demand is so high, very often the adverts online for apartments, they don't even have pictures from inside. So you're coming, just maybe seeing the picture of the building from the outside, you really don't know what to expect. So you're gonna have to see dozens of apartments, and let's say you see 6, you see 10 apartments, you maybe even apply to all of them. Hi Natalia, thanks for joining. So you see 6, 10 apartments, you apply to all of them. Very often you don't get into any of them. So this is really tricky, and that's, I think, the biggest challenge to finding an apartment in Geneva. There's a very big demand. For every apartment, there's probably 20 or 40 people applying. So it's really very difficult to get actually an apartment. So 2 ways that actually makes this easier is, one is you get a relocation agency from your employer, and this company represents you towards a real estate agency. And why this is great is that the real estate market is really like, I wouldn't want to say it's like a mafia, but it's really strong connection. So if somebody represents you who has very good connections within the real estate market in Geneva, that's great, because you just have so much higher chances of getting in. The other way to get an apartment is just right away try to contact the people who are selling it, who are renting it out, and maybe they are going to recommend you towards their real estate agency, which also sometimes happen. Guys, let's just make a quick update here.
Sorry, I didn't butcher it.
No, it's perfect, it's perfect. So Nastya, so basically the first batch already completely melted. Nastya added all the cheese, and now it has to keep, let's say, dissolving a little bit more, but we're really close actually to getting there. Guys, let's see where we are with the questions. Avenue.
Geneva was also in the city.
Yeah, Geneva is a really cute city, and that's true. Like, it has those kind of more boring periods as well. I mean, if you're coming from a big city, a couple of million people, obviously it's gonna feel more calm. But to be honest, if you really try, I mean, I'm not talking about right now, because with the quarantine, with Corona, it's the life has changed completely. But before that, actually, really, if you seek out, if you see on Facebook what's happening, there's always something happening. There are interesting film festivals. Smaller and bigger galleries have openings which are really interesting. There's this famous, it's called Caveau Vert, which is like a festival for winemakers in Geneva. So there is actually stuff happening almost all the time. It's basically maybe not that advertised, but it seems, let's say, boring on the outset, but once you get into it, there's actually really always something to do, I would say.
Right? There is. And actually, I think it's a huge misconception that Switzerland is boring, and very often before I moved here, I was drawing this picture that yes, it is indeed beautiful, but it's a perfect, retirement opportunity, whereas it is completely not. And I think if anyone is of that opinion, if you think that, Switzerland is in itself boring, I think it's kind of like life is what you make it. So you can always go out and ski, go have fun outdoors, there's plenty of things to do. There's crystal clear lakes, really,
beautiful outdoors,
you name it. So there's plenty of things to do in Switzerland, and I wouldn't call it a retirement. You can have a great party here. There's great techno parties in this serene country, and depends what you're looking for,
Laila, I'm really happy we answered your questions. If you have any, because you're moving, I remember your other comments actually from the videos. You're going to be moving here soon, right? So don't hesitate. Follow us on Instagram as well. Our handle is on the about page of this YouTube, so please don't hesitate to ask your questions there or in the comments, wherever it feels best. I know you will have a lot of questions coming here because it's a big step. Natalia, We have you guys been in Lausanne? Yeah, Lausanne is really like a 40-minute drive away from Geneva. It's a very different city because, to be honest, I mean, Switzerland is a small country. It's 8 million people, and like you can drive the whole country in length in 3 hours, and this way like in an hour. But every of the bigger cities has a really very different vibe to them. So let's say Geneva, like when you compare Geneva and Zurich, people often say that you make money in Zurich and you spend it in Geneva because Zurich is there's more banks there and more tech companies, so there's a bigger job market there. Geneva is more like a posh chill city, whereas Lausanne that you asked about, that's much more of a, let's say, a student city. So I mean there are nice bars both in Zurich and in Geneva, but the bars and bars and clubs in Lausanne, once again, all of them are closed right now, unfortunately. But the bars and the bar scene in Lausanne is much more lively. So it's really like a student city. People are generally people are generally much younger there, so it's quite different than Geneva. And as for the jazz festival in Montreux, actually, it's super popular here this year. Of course, also didn't take place, unfortunately, but hopefully next year. We haven't been there. I heard about it just from the moment I came here, and I thought it's actually really just jazz, but actually it's all kinds of music, and I was really surprised about that. So you have basically all kinds of scenes of music, and it's quite a big event, even though, let's say, Belgium or Netherlands are really well known for their festivals, and nobody really talks about festivals in Switzerland. But actually the lineups are quite impressive, I would say, at least for a country that is not very big. So I hope maybe next year we can go to the festival together, Natalia.
I think it would be useful to show that this is the kind of fondue where you would actually like to add some starch into, because it is rather, I hope I don't spill it on my laptop. It is rather
so see, it's already fluid, but it's a little bit too watery. So they're like drops. So we're gonna add starch to there so it thickens up a little bit. Should I? Or?
I can do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna add a little bit of starch so it becomes a little bit more thick, so it's not watery, because it shouldn't be. It should be like kind of creamy consistency. Let's say. Let me fix this very quickly. Okay, perfect. You guys traveled a lot around Swiss. What do you think about different parts of Switzerland? I mean, French, Italian, and German parts. Yeah, that's actually a really good question as well. I get asked that quite a lot. And once again, Switzerland is such a small country, but there are in fact parts which, I mean, you know for yourself as well, that there are parts and they are so different from one another. Let me fix this very quickly. Sorry.
Should I give you a hand with something?
No. Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties here. The tripod is falling apart. Okay, let's hope that this is gonna be better. So Lala, back to your question. What are the different parts? Yeah, it's funny to me, and it was really shocking to me when I came here first, that it's such a small country, but actually the differences are so big. Geneva feels, I mean, it doesn't feel like, because a lot of people say that Geneva is actually not Switzerland and that it's almost like France. It doesn't feel like France to me. There is a French vibe to it. There is a little bit of a Germanic vibe to it, but there is also this kind of Mediterranean vibe. I mean, a lot of the buildings, they could have also been Milano. So there is this kind of a little bit of a mix of the places, and I really like that, because if you go to Zurich, I mean, it's extremely well organized. Like, I mean, it's crazy how orderly and well organized and like Germanic it is. So maybe for me that's even a little bit too much orderly. If you go to the Italian part, I mean, it's wonderful. Lugano, Ticino, it's absolutely so beautiful. It's so close to Como. It's literally there. And I don't mean no offense. I love Italy, but it has all the best sides of Italy: the beautiful lakes, gorgeous nature, gorgeous climate. But it's also super clean, well organized, and orderly. Again, I don't mean any offense. I lived in Italy, Nastia knows. I love Italy with all my heart. We both do. But we all know that it's not the most, let's say, tidy country. So Switzerland, the Italian part of Switzerland has all the upsides, with not much of the downsides, except for that, you know, you pass the border and everything becomes 6 times more expensive.
Oh yeah, and there's a jet d'eau, so there's this fountain in the middle of the lake in Lugano, I think that is.
It's
And
beautiful.
it's incredibly beautiful. It's a little bit smaller than the one in Geneva, but that's just a piece of useless trivia for me.
But it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful part. And we wanted to go there and make some videos this summer. We didn't manage at the end. We really just were passing by. But next summer, hopefully, we will, and then we'll publish some videos for this channel. Let me have a look. Xavery, you're always welcome to come here. So we're gonna have fondue together. I hope. Xavery is a good friend of mine from high school. We know each other for I think like 12 years now. So always welcome to drop by for fondue. Hopefully soon. Krzysztof Krawulski. Yes. Yeah, it's true. You can see us pretty well. I hope you can see us pretty well. I hope you can hear us pretty well. But what you cannot experience is the smell in the apartment right now. I mean, if you guys don't like cheese, then fondue is not something that you want to be eating. The stench is quite intense. And I remember when I came here first, we had like this business Christmas fondue party. And I came in a suit, and everybody was like, "Why did you do that? I mean, you can just throw the suit out." And yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, you can have a fondue on the terrace, and that's like, I mean, when you're passing by those terraces, it already smells. But if you're sitting in that room where, like, you know, there's 100 people and 25 different fondue pots, I mean, the smell is pretty intense. So. Yeah, it does smell, and we're gonna have to air out. But still, we love fondue so much, so I guess it's not a high price to pay. Gabriel, cool hockey team as well. Yes, I've been invited a couple of times to go to hockey. I still haven't. I guess I shouldn't say that out loud in Switzerland because I'm gonna get arrested. But I'm not really that big on winter sports, so we didn't go to hockey yet, but we will. Hello from Prague. Hi, Irina. So thank you so much for joining. Yeah, exactly, Nastya.
Do you think that's
this
fine?
Is perfect. So could you show it a little bit closer here? So you see, we have this like creamy consistency, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing. So what we're gonna do is now we're gonna light up this this burner here. Yes, it's on fire. Perfect. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Let us prep this very quickly.
Best fondue I've ever had was in this apartment. Oh, that's so
Thank
sweet.
you, Justina. That's so nice of you. Well, with every fondue that we make, we just get better and better. So if you join us next time, hopefully it will be even better. And we're also gonna experiment a little bit more, because what we did right now, and as you saw, it was with white wine, but you can actually add. You can also add, let's say, champagne or sparkling wine, or champagne or prosecco. Okay, adding champagne to fondue sounds really bougie and snobby, but the idea is that the bubbly consistency actually makes it super light, so like a creamy thing. So Justina, when the next time you come here, we should definitely try this, and we can just make the wine sparkling with the soda stream. Thank you, Mariusz. I remember
a huge shock of experience after coming to Geneva from Milan.
Yeah.
It was so tiny and fresh.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Although a friend of ours, and I think I saw Krzysiek commenting here somewhere, he came from Zurich, and he's like, "Oh, why is it so dirty here? Like, why is it so filthy?" So like, no, of course it was a joke. I mean, Geneva is really tidy, but if you compare it to Zurich, like, it's also like another level. It's like a laboratory. So we now each have like a chunk of our cheeses. We have our little funky forks for fondue. What I like to do, Nastya, I don't know if you would like some. I add some pepper to my plate to put the fondue in. Let's see.
Well, this question is next, I think. Oh my god, you're so
Yes.
needy.
Speaking of, Lala asks about different Swiss dishes and if we have tried rosti. Actually, it's quite interesting because I don't know, Lala, if you agree, but the Swiss cuisine is somehow seems to be based on completely 100% on cheese and like additional stuff. So you have fondue, which is basically cheese with wine, which you dip bread in. There is raclette, which is basically cheese that you put on stuff like potatoes or little pickles or pickled onions, and then you have. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. About that. Or you have rosti, which is basically kind of it's potatoes with burnt cheese with baked cheese, right? No, I've not tried that yet.
I've tried it.
Have
It's
you?
quite good. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
It's a nice breakfast option, I think, but it's rather heavy for breakfast, maybe brunch. It's I guess not baked potatoes, but rather fried potatoes on a pan. And then there's a very thick layer of cheese. It's quite good, I think. But if I could give a piece of advice, they do sell rosti in the supermarket, which I don't know, when the potatoes are being, I don't know, I think they add some kind of chemical there so that they're better preserved. So I think it's just better to make your own potatoes, cut them up and put them on a pan. I think it's just a healthier option. So, but whichever one, you can get a pre-packed set in a supermarket of rosti as well.
So I think we can make the promise if the same time next year we're gonna hit 1 million subscribers. I promise we're gonna do rosti then, and we're even gonna grow our own potatoes if we hit 1 million. So please.
Not sure about that. I think you've never dug potatoes.
Well, I'm from Poland, obviously I have. Anyways, so please share the channel, and if we're at 1 million subscribers next year, I promise rosti with own potatoes.
Dinner as well.
Let's see. Yeah, I gave him food just a second ago. Let's see. Hello. When will there be an episode about the great city of Zurich? Well, yes, we have to go to Zurich. The last time we've been was a long time ago.
We haven't been together?
We've been with
We have for like a very small amount of time, like 2 hours, I think.
Yes, we have friends in Zurich and increasingly many more recently. So we really want to go, and we will. And once we go there, we're gonna definitely make a video on how much Geneva is nicer than Zurich. I promise we're gonna make that video. But I don't know if it's gonna be this year. Obviously, there's a lot of nice clubs and bars and restaurants. So going there now when absolutely everything is closed would be a little bit of a waste.
I think that's a good question. Is overtime something Swiss employers usually expect?
That's a good question. Laila, let me put it this way. Of course, it depends. It really depends on the... What's up? Why are you so needy today? It really depends on your employer, on the industry, and really on your manager. To be honest, I would say the majority of people I met, and I don't know if you agree with me, but people don't work very long hours in Geneva. To be honest,
I don't know. I guess it depends on the person also, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it depends on your personal, responsibility you're willing to take, because I always stay overtime, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. And I think sometimes, I can't say it's encouraged per se, but it's definitely not something that is frowned upon. In my job, I don't get paid for overtime, so sucks to be me, but I don't know, if at your job, do you get paid overtime?
No, generally we're not allowed to do overtime. So what is maybe important to mention is that there is a strong kind of culture of no tolerance for, let's say, failure. So that is a thing in Switzerland. Like, I mean, when you have a deadline where you have an objective, you have to deliver, and if you don't, that's not okay. Having said that, a lot of people that I know, yes, that's true. At your company, you do quite a lot of hours. Yeah. But in general, I think at least less, like looking at my friends, we do less overtime than my friends in the same industry, let's say in Poland, for example, at least. Come here.
I think it honestly depends on your job and the way you are and how you feel more comfortable in your own pace. It's not frowned upon, you know. So I think that's the bottom line. So just to give you a comparison, I work in a small firm. It's below 30 people, and Nikolai works in a bank, so it's probably like a corporate structure rather. So we do have two different parts of the spectrum. But yeah, it depends really.
Yeah, it does depend, and of course, like I think the highest let's say working pressure is in the trading companies, because then you just have to move physical product, and either in the energy sector, or metals, or soft commodities. So there is a lot of pressure, and I mean, even walking on the streets of Geneva, I see, I walk at 9. We walk at 9 p.m. in the evening, and I see in the windows of trading companies on the main streets that there are people sitting at their computers at 9 or 10 p.m., which is definitely not the case, for example, where I work.
Well, and also don't forget private banking. I mean, these bankers, they are disponible, if you will. They will answer the phone at 10 in the evening if they have. The banking industry, I think, is quite harsh, at least it can be. So yeah, trading, banking, anything where it has to do with private wealth management, be ready to have your phone on, be ready to work a weekend. I mean,
yeah, that's possible.
It is possible. We're talking about big money here, so clients with a lot of wishes and that are have a high demand. So
yeah. Laila, what's the average work week? 40 hours. Yeah, I do. So I do 40 hours. I come in at 9. There is a mandatory hour break during the day, so you can take an hour anywhere between 11:30 and 2:30, which most people do basically between 12:30 and 1:30. And most people, so let's say at least where I work, most people finish at 6:30, 7ish. Obviously not now, because it's the end of the season, so it's end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So in any kind of financial institution, anything that revolves around finance, you will be working more because you're just closing the fiscal year. So that's obviously more work.
But it will depend. I work, for example, 42 hours, and with overtime, I think I get about 170, 180 hours a month. So it depends on the industry.
Yeah, and obviously like Big Four, I know that Big Four in Switzerland, pretty much the same as in any part of the world, they also work crazy hours. Like, I mean, 6-7 days a week, up to 18 hours per day. But that really depends, and Big Four is not for everybody, and most people just do it for a couple of years. So I don't know. I hope that answers your questions. We need to see Luigi. Yes, he's somewhere around. He was really needy, and now he's probably upset with us that he's not in the stream. Mariusz, during winter you can find a rosti burger in McDonald's.
Yes, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. Basically, McDonald's always has those local things in every country, and in Switzerland it's a rosti burger. I have not tried that. I overall try to eat less and less of junk food, said I, dipping into this gigantic bowl of cheese mixed with wine. But yeah. Xavere, I take a bet. Yes, you can take that bet. Like, definitely. If we're at 1 million subscribers, then yes. Lala, about Zurich, you guys should definitely visit Lind Museum and others. The class on how to make your own chocolate. Wow, is there a class how to make your own chocolate? Oh, that's oh my god.
Gonna roll out of there.
We will definitely oh my god, we're gonna get so fat. Yes, we really want to go to Zurich. There's a list of, I mean, as I said, we have some friends there. There's a list of places we want to see. Definitely. So now, as we just learned, definitely the chocolate museum in Lind. I think that's a great opportunity. To learn more about chocolate, and I mean, it sounds amazing. If you can make your own chocolate, that's absolutely fantastic. It would be nice to make a video about that as well. On our checklist, there is also the Le Corbusier Museum that we really want to see. Le Corbusier was a French-Swiss architect design.
Swiss, I think.
Yeah, I think.
He was buried in France, but he was Swiss.
Yeah. I think. Anyways, so he was a architect, designer, and city planner. And it's actually really interesting because I'm a little bit of we both love design. I'm a little bit into architecture. We both are. It's really interesting to see that an architect went into pop culture in this country. Like, even on the bills, there's his face, which really doesn't happen that often. So that's quite cool. And because we're geeks on this, we really want to see the museum. And there's like a pavilion by Zurich, which we really wanna see.
Oh, hey Nadia.
Hi Nadia. Hi Nick.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Have you guys been to Bern? Yes, we have. Basically, we've been this summer.
For administrative reasons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can talk that. I mean, you can say that Geneva is calm, but Bern is quite a different level of calm. I mean, it's really even though it's a capital, so right, that's where the parliament is. And that's also where all the embassies are. So we were there because I needed to renew my passport. Basically, like very, 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 very big embassy district. It's a beautiful town, and the parliament is gorgeous, and the view from there is absolutely beautiful because it's a little bit of a kind of hill with the river meandering in the bottom. So it's really beautiful, but it's a very calm city. Like for most cities, let's say the capital is the most lively. This is completely not the case for Switzerland. I think the most lively city by far is Zurich. So Bern is really, chill, I would say. How long have you been in Geneva? Are you able to make new friendships? So I've been in Geneva in March. It's going to be 3 years that I'm here fixed. And for you in summer...
A year and 4 months I've been here.
Yes, so next summer is going to be 2 years for you that you're here, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think we can say we have quite a lot of friends here. And also having said that, actually almost none of them are Swiss.
Unfortunately, though,
yes.
It's not
by choice.
It's not intentional.
It's definitely not intentional, but for example, my team where I work is 12, 14 people now, and out of those people, I think only 2 were actually born in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So it's a great minority. The entire bank where I work is really just a couple of people that they're actually born in Switzerland. Where you work, it's pretty much similar actually, right? Also
mostly, well, I think it depends because it's a small firm, so it's not really representative. It's mostly Brits. Very few Swissies, and if any, they're mostly Portuguese that then became Swiss. So that's actually a problem because it's a bit, in some places in Geneva, I would say, of course it depends where you work, but it's a bit difficult to place yourself in a French-speaking environment because there are so many expats. You will most always, I think, your main language at work will be English, which doesn't really help, because it doesn't help to assimilate, doesn't help to practice French. So that's definitely something to keep in mind because people do expect that you will learn French, which of course is only natural. I think it only shows respect to you paying respect to the people in the country where you live. But yeah.
And speaking of assimilation, actually, I'm going to be posting, I'll upload the video today, it's going to go live on Wednesday. There was a question about how the Swiss people are, and actually something that I talk about, and to tie with this assimilating aspect. The Swiss people they're very polite and very friendly, but they're also quite reserved. So they're very, very polite and friendly on the outset, but you're not going to make friends with them easily.
Yeah.
So there is a big expat population, and basically, being an expat here, it's just so much easier to make friends who are also expats because you have this, this common thread behind. Whereas to befriend Swiss people, that's.
Oh my God, I'm a pig. I'm sorry.
We chose the most embarrassing dish also to eat live in front of people.
I'm sorry, it's embarrassing, but
But you can be friends with people, and when you do, it's really rewarding. And to be honest, I was really grateful because when I came here, there were some people who were like super welcoming and friendly towards me, and that's why also I made this channel because I know that coming here can be a little bit of a challenge. And I felt very welcome when I came, and so to all my Swiss friends, hello, and if you're watching, thank you so much, and thank you for being so welcoming to us. Luigi is back, the star of the show.
By popular demand.
Exactly, by popular demand, Luigi is here.
Luigi. Let's
see. Congratulations on the anniversary. Thank you very much, Nadia. It's so kind of you. So for new friendships. Oh, speaking of this, obviously this is not the case because of Corona right now, but I think it's going to be restarting after Corona. There is this really cool meet and greet kind of thing, a language meetup that was hosted. I think it was called the Ethno Bar or something like this on the river, on the Jonction. Close to Jonction, and basically the idea was that you would come there and you would put flags of all the languages that you speak, with the ones that you speak the best on top and the ones that you want to learn on the bottom, and and everybody at this event would do this, and basically the main idea behind the event was to learn languages, but it was actually a really great way to meet new people, and people came from the most various backgrounds. So there were people from the UN, from all the agencies around the UN. There were people from trading companies, from banks, from non-profits. There were some people from the military. So actually, that's a great way to make friends. So if this is gonna restart, I'm gonna definitely make a video, and so you guys can hear about it more, because it's a great way to make friends in Geneva.
Oh, and just to add on to what you said, I think there's plenty of Facebook groups. I mean, I don't know if you're into this thing. We have never personally tried it, but there's anything. I mean, if you have a dog, you can join a dog walking group. There's practically something every day. There's also, what's this app called? Meetup?
Yeah.
We once went on a blockchain lecture like that. You can find people by interest, by nationality, if you want to learn something, language exchange. I mean, it is really there, and thankfully the people are friendly. And actually, the best part is it's a lot of it is in English. So I think it's a great way to meet friends like that if you're new.
Yeah, exactly. There are tennis meetups, there are photography meetups for blockchain. There are meetups for photography, kayaking, badminton, all kinds of stuff. So that's also a great way to meet people with, let's say, common interests as well. How are the Tunisians or North Africans generally perceived in Switzerland? I
think they're fine.
Yeah, I don't think there is really a common perception. There's actually quite a lot of people from North Africa. I'm sorry, just a second. Gigi, come here, baby.
Yeah, sorry, Gigi is being really needy. About North Africans, I actually really like North Africans in Switzerland, because I think very often, I mean, the Swiss people are rather, how would you say that? How would you put that? That, you know, they're not going to work extra time on the weekends, because they think it is their right to, you know, have a break, which, with all due respect, but actually in our part of town, so we live in Paki, most of the stores that are 24/7 stores and sell all kinds of necessities all year round are run by North Africans. So thank you very much for that. And
hardworking, entrepreneurial, and really kind of business oriented. So like, I mean, really nothing really a good contribution to the community, because there's a lot of people who just want to have a break on the weekend. So and a lot of those businesses are really run by people from North Africa, which is really great, because it just shows that you know they have the work, they have the will to work, and they're running all kinds of bigger and smaller businesses, which is really cool.
So definitely a good perception. And generally, actually, I don't consider Swiss people to be racist in general. You know, we are also obviously not Swiss, and I mean, Eastern Europeans also get some racism towards them, you know.
Yeah, Eastern Europeans
but
have also.
I've never gotten some of that. I mean, maybe some disrespectful men, but that's really it, you know.
I mean, of course, obviously, like, we are from Eastern Europe, so there is misconceptions about many nations, but you won't see any negativity in Switzerland. Actually, people are really polite and correct, I would say. Alexandra, thank you. Congrats on the 1-year anniversary. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for joining, and it's really great to have you. I can show basically the fondue is slowly bubbling here. It's really important to actually also manage the flow. I mean, because at the end we were supposed to tell you how to do fondue. It's also important to manage the fire right now underneath. Yeah. So if you're seeing that, for example, now it's actually a little bit too hot, so we'll put it down a little bit. But thank you for your honesty and time. No worries. We are here to answer any of your questions, and we always try to do them in the most honest way possible. Nastia, how are you enjoying the fondue? Is it any good?
It's really good, but after my epic fail of the cheese falling out of my mouth, I might just leave it for after.
Okay, I'll try. Also there is some kind of fondue, let's say, traditions games, exactly. So 2 of them, first of all, there's 4 very big chunks of garlic swimming in there, because you saw me put them in. So if you get one of these, obviously it's like a big win for you. And the second one is if your piece of bread falls in there, so falls off the stick, that's a true for there. So that's a common tradition, right, in Switzerland. Let's see, are there any other questions? And obviously, we chose to do, because the 1 year anniversary was now in the winter, we chose to do fondue because it's also a seasonal dish. Obviously, nobody eats it in the summer because, I mean, first of all, the stench.
It's freaking heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. The stench is quite strong, and yeah, so it's really a seasonal kind of autumn and winter dish.
Yeah.
And the fondue restaurants are running all year long, but most people have it. They're mostly running for the tourists, I guess, but most people have it in the spring, in the fall or winter, especially if you're skiing, après ski kind of thing. So
I think there's one French that might just give you this magic kick in the ass. Have you learned French? Are you taking any lessons?
Yes, I am taking lessons. Also,
Are you though?
yes, I'm taking lessons, and also my French teacher, if you're watching, apparently I'm her worst French student in Geneva, so that's really not going well for me. Nastia is doing very well though, so congrats on this.
Comme ça. It's a difficult language
Yeah.
to learn, and I think there's quite a lot of pressure, which is fair. When you live in a country, it is definitely only right to learn a language, but there is a lot of pressure to learn French. And people will generally get surprised if you've been here for a year and you cannot converse in French. So definitely it's something you should invest into. I think also, I'm not at the point where I can have a conversation, but if you could have a conversation, you would generally get a lot of respect from people. So definitely learn French if you're coming to the Swiss Romande.
Yes, no, that's exactly true, and I talk about it on my channel in the previous videos. I've lived in the Netherlands for 5 years. I lived in Italy a little bit. Obviously, I'm from Poland, so there as well. And I have no experiences how it is to not speak Polish in Poland. You have from the past. I don't know how is that. That's tough.
I think it's not really applicable because I think for Polish people it seemed really easy that I could learn Polish, having spoken Ukrainian and Russian, which is also a misconception. It's not that easy. But anyways, I think generally you will be more appreciated by locals if you speak their language. It's normal.
Obviously, and I don't get me wrong, I do want to learn French just out of respect to this place because I really like it here and I want to stay here. But what I was getting at is, for example, I only learned a little bit of Dutch while I was in the Netherlands because you really do not have to speak any Dutch to get along in the Netherlands. Really, to the point that I remember it was my first week in the Netherlands, and a homeless person asked me for money, and I said I really don't understand because I didn't speak Dutch, and the guy spoke better English than any of my English professors in Poland have ever spoken, like spotless perfect. So everybody speaks perfect English in the Netherlands. So if you need something fixed, if you are going to offices, to kind of governmental offices, everybody speaks very good English. In Italy, it's much more difficult to fix stuff not knowing Italian, but people on the other hand are really welcoming, saying in a way that, okay, I don't speak Italian, I'm really sorry, but I know those 5 words, and if they hear those 5 words, they're really wow, that is fantastic, and they're really cheerful, so they're not really, let's say, very judgmental. And what is a little bit tougher with, and I don't mean any disrespect, but I think what's a little bit tougher with learning French is that people expect you to speak it perfectly.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you make mistakes, which you will, because it's not an easy language, you will be looked down at a little bit. So I with my lousy French, which it is, and this is only my fault, I do make attempts sometimes when I'm buying stuff and just people look at me and they reply in English. And it's like,
I've been corrected by a store manager, which
like so many times.
It's a little bit awkward when you're
times.
asking for help, and then they're like, you should say it like this. So probably I've just ran into not a very nice person. Maybe he thought he was helping me, but I was just really embarrassed, and it's really discouraging when someone who is a complete stranger is correcting you in a language which you're trying to speak. But c'est comme ça.
Yeah, I can really, that's really true. I'll be moving to Geneva very soon. That's why I'm asking. Have you learned French? Are you taking lessons? So basically, yeah. I mean, you can survive not speaking French, but it's much better if you do. I mean, you can get by in stores, but if you have to do something with the cantonal authorities, with governmental, I don't know, if you're trying to fix your driving license,
police,
taxes,
like
exactly.
you know,
Police,
even sometimes going to
you
the
need
police,
French,
they probably will not speak French
Yeah.
if you need to fix something administrative. So
Yes.
either gestures or French.
Yeah, so it's possible, but it's gonna be so much easier. Bonsoir, David. I'll be moving to Geneva. Okay, Krzysztof, that might be a bit off topic. Can you please the whole YouTube journey, as I clearly see the difference between your first videos? Ha, Krzysztof, that's so nice of you to mention. Yeah, the journey was basically. So a year ago, the first video was published, and yes, it was a cringe fest, and a lot of people were very supportive. But I mean, it was tough. But yeah, to be honest, it was a really nice journey because okay, the channel has 9,000 subs, so that's nothing in the scale of YouTube, but it was really rewarding to be able to connect with so many of you. You know, people wrote and commented, asking questions. That it was a really nice feeling to know that okay, you don't really know me. I'm just some guy from the internet, but people really shared very nice stories, and so I hope that those people who watched the channel and came here will be able to organize a meetup, and I'm really looking forward to that. And as for the journey, to be honest, the reason I decided to start this channel is I was really looking for, let's say, a kind of a creative outlet. The second point is, I was thinking, what should I make a channel about? And the simple choice was Switzerland, and the journey here was because simply because so many people ask me about, how it is to live here, what are my experiences, how are the people like, how is life like, how is working here like. So this was kind of the obvious option, to choose Switzerland as the topic. And then what was left was trying to figure out how YouTube works more or less, and how cameras work more or less. I mean, photography and video was a little bit of a hobby of mine, but I think I learned quite a lot, hopefully, the last year, so maybe the videos now will be a little bit less cringy. I hope this answers your question, Krzyku. Apart from the confidence, how did this channel affect your everyday life? Well, actually pushing one video a week is, I think, much more work than people realize. And I had this streak of, I don't know, a dozen weeks during the summer where I really pushed a video every week, and Nastya knows how frustrated this was been for me as well. I mean, often I would finish work at 6 and then just start working on the videos, and to be able to push one video a week, I would go to sleep at 2 or 3 at night just to be able to provide some content. I think to be honest, at the end, to sit in your own living room with a camera and a microphone and a light pointing at you is an extremely awkward experience. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's really weird to do that. So it's awkward to speak to a camera, and if you get accustomed to this, which I think I got a little bit, you just have also much less work in post-edit and post to do. So I hope that answers your question, Krzychu. Laila, I thought you can't hold one animal in Switzerland. I know what you are talking about. Yes.
It's about guinea pigs.
Yes, it is about guinea pigs. And actually, because of your comment, I'm making a video that will be actually especially for you. I'm sorry, that will be especially for you, Laila. It's gonna be uploaded today and published on Wednesday. So it doesn't apply to all animals. Basically, there are some animals like parrots, like guinea pigs, and like those other little
rodents.
Basically, Switzerland is really serious on like not harm. I mean, obviously nobody wants to harm animals, but like very serious on animal welfare. So there's a list of animals which you cannot buy one individual
without a pair.
Yeah. So guinea pigs, parrots are those. If you buy one, you have to have two, so they're like social with each other. But even regardless of this, so you can have one dog, which is okay, but we're still actually thinking of getting another one because I mean as much as we like Luigi, I think we're not that great companions for him. So like he would probably interact better with another dog.
But just to say, if you're ever bringing animals to Switzerland, especially from non-EU, there's really stringent laws about laws, I guess, regulations when it comes to rabies, because it is a rabies-free country. So keep that in mind, and don't leave your furry friends in your hometown just because it's gonna take a long, expensive trip to bring them here. I mean, bring them here. It's possible. Nothing is impossible, you know.
Yeah,
Take them
exactly.
with.
Take them with. Exactly. There is a video on this channel about bringing dogs from Switzerland, so to Switzerland. So hopefully that will be helpful. Alexandra, did you live in Rome? Because in Milan people are a little bit more judgmental from my experience. Oh, I had no idea actually. Yes, I lived in Rome for 8 months or so, and I really just speak a couple of words of Italian. But it always felt to me like, when I tried to start like my 3 words, I felt like the entire 80% of people in the entire piazza would drop whatever they're doing and come like, there's a guy and he's not from here, but he's trying to speak in their language. And it was very pleasant. Like, I mean, I knew that I'm doing horribly bad, but it was so nice that they appreciated the fact. I love the Italians, like even here in Italy, like even my barber is Italian, and he's from Rome, and like every time I go there, like, hey, like, man, I haven't been in Rome for such a long time, and we always chat about that. Rome is really chill. I don't have that much experiences in Milano. We've been there just like for 5 days together, maybe.
No, less, I think.
Or even less. Yeah. Lala, can you expand a bit about driving in Switzerland? Again, oh my God, that's a big topic, to be honest. So when you come to Switzerland, you have to switch wherever you're coming from. Actually, you have to switch to a Swiss driving license. So if you're coming from the EU, this is very easy. You just go there, you give your driving license. And that was actually a little bit of I'm not like that patriotic, but they took my Polish license away and just put it in an envelope and said they're going to send it back to Poland, which was like, okay, sure, that's whatever. And they gave me a Swiss one. So you have 1 year to do that. If you're outside of EU, I think you have to take some exams.
I think you either have to pass a theoretical or a practice exam. I won't lie, I don't have a license. But on my way to get one, finally. Yeah. But yeah, you will have to change it. It is a bit of a pain. Yeah. Yes, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it is a pain, and also because a lot of people have this idea like, okay, yeah, Switzerland is so expensive, so if I live here, I'm just going to make it somewhere else. Like, if the Swiss find out that you're doing that, they're actually not going to be pleased. So if you theoretically you could be living in Geneva and do it.
It probably can work, but it's just generally better not to break the laws in this country, because it's a much bigger price to pay in the end than what you're saving. Yeah,
exactly. So if you're a resident of Switzerland, you should actually do your exam here in Switzerland. If you have a license from somewhere else, you'll have to switch within a year of moving here. What is the process for getting a license? So basically you first have to do medical tests, medical training, right? So CPR.
Which is really useful. I think anyone should do it, and I think it should be mandatory in any parts. It's a little bit Swiss focused, so it's a lot about tunnels and mountains, because we're in Switzerland, obviously. So it's really quite, not your specific CPR course, but it's useful and I liked it. And if anyone needs it, I can link a really nice English speaking school, which I went to.
Yeah. Then you have to pass your theoretical exam, right? And actually from there you can start driving, if I understand correctly, right?
So it's like a provisional license system. So you can drive with somebody who had a license, who's an adult, who has a Swiss license. So that's quite nice, because lessons are about 80 to 100 francs an hour, which is bit pricey even if you make a Swiss salary. So it's definitely nice if you have a partner or a friend or a parent who can teach you here. Exactly.
So if anybody that has a license for I think more than 5 years, right? That's true.
I don't know the specificities, but you definitely tick the box. So
exactly. So that's possible. And what is really interesting, speaking of driving licenses, a friend of mine was getting his license for his motorcycle, and that was just, that blew my mind. So Switzerland, if you want to understand a little bit, Switzerland is a really, really, really heavily regulated country in almost every aspect, right? And so like if you're supposed to drive 50, you really are like supposed to drive 49 and a half, and like you're going to be so heavily penalized. Apparently if you cross a red light, you can actually go to prison. If you cross the red light after 2 seconds, you can go to prison. Like, it's really heavily regulated. And then, as I learned from a friend of mine who was getting his license for his motorcycle, if you have a car license, you can go to the authorities and say, I want to get a motorcycle now, and they give you a license. It does, like, if you are above 25 and you have a car license, it doesn't have to be like a moped or a 50cc or a 125cc. You can literally buy it like a Ducati Monster 1200cc machine, which you can kill yourself and so many people with. Like, not having sat on a motorcycle ever, you can get the license, go there, they're going to give you the motorcycle, and you have a year to learn to ride it. Which this was quite surprising for me. So a little bit of piece of trivia on getting a license in Switzerland.
I mean, if I may, on the other hand, I think that generally Swiss citizens are they have a great sense of responsibility and they recognize their flaws and they don't want things given for free. So I think this model would only work in a country where citizens are incredibly responsible, where they don't overestimate their knowledge, their power. So, naturally, I think this is sort of the key to success here because people are really quite conscious.
Yeah, they are. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this would not work anywhere else, I guess.
Exactly.
Mikoi, the cringes is one of the things I like most about you. Oh my god, there were like
Don't we all?
so many cringes and laughs after the first. Like I literally have a album on my phone which is just reactions of people cringing to my first video. I have so much more distance to it right now after a year than I did at the time. So yes, but thank you, Mariusz. Mariusz and Justyna, you have been supporting me from the very beginning on this channel, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
Laila, what rule is the most important to remember when living there? I've read about not making any noises after 10 p.m. Even flushing toilet is not allowed. Anything else to be conscious about? Okay, so I actually very soon in my pipeline I have a video about having Swiss neighbors. Yeah, actually let's close the window for that. About having Swiss neighbors and living here. Once again, Switzerland is a little bit diverse. Geneva is not your most typical Switzerland. So from what I know, it's much worse in Zurich. But basically the rule of thumb is like if there are rules, they're meant there to be obeyed. And if you don't obey them, it's not only that the police is gonna be unhappy with you, also like really treat everybody around you like it's really frowned upon. So, like what you mentioned about flushing the toilets and like showering after 10 p.m. I do shower after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And the neighbors are okay with this, but I did hear a lot of stories of this actually happening in Zurich because, as I mentioned, Zurich is a little bit more Germanic and kind of orderly. So I did hear stories about police coming because people.
It's not ridicule.
Yeah.
I mean, some laws. Well, you know how there are these segregation trash cans.
Yeah, exactly. For plastic, glass, like you cannot do this on Sunday. You cannot
Yeah.
throw the glass on Sunday, which is nice. You know, if you're living in front of this kind of recycling for glass, I mean, it's maybe a little bit loud, but
you know, sometimes we're all human. You know, so if you're just kind of sleepy on a Sunday morning and you just want to do your Sunday chores and clean out your apartment, sometimes forget about these things. Another one is you cannot walk a dog without a leash.
Yeah.
In most places in Geneva, unless they're designated dog parks. So there's a little bit of quirky things, which are, you know, they're definitely not going to be apologetic about it. Your neighbors will call the police if you're having a party. Generally, thankfully, we're quite blessed with our neighbors. So the parties we've had before, pre-corona.
When this was legal, just let the record show.
But our friends' neighbors are not so tolerant. They have called the police on us.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends where, I mean, it was not a wild party. Like in the past, we've gathered in a couple of handful of people, and we were not wrecking the apartment. We were literally talking as we are right now.
Maybe a little bit of music.
And the police came, just, you know, what's going on.
And
like,
they're very respectful.
Yeah.
We weren't fined,
No.
so thankfully, because I think the fine is 500 francs.
Per head.
Per head or
Yes,
per group?
per head.
Well, that would have been a great contribution to the government.
And we weren't doing anything special, just talking, maybe a little bit of music, and also not in the middle of the week. I think it was Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, so that was always on a weekend.
I mean, Saturday, Friday night. So this was really unpleasant. So what other rules? Also, if you move into an apartment, you also get this sheet of A4 paper of what you're allowed to do when. Like, it literally says that you're not allowed to wear high heels in your apartment after 10 p.m.
Because so many of us do, right?
Yeah. So, like, you know, it says when is it okay to run your vacuum, washing machine, shower, etc., etc. So this definitely mentions that you cannot shower after 10 p.m. But once again, like, we had no problems with this. But that is just generally possible, yes. Should you always look at the bright side? Friends from Poland and friends and family from Poland and from London. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining in. Yes, it's a reference to one of our famous. It's a reference to one of our favorite movies, which is The Life of Brian by Monty Python. And yes, you should always look at the bright side of life.
Wherever you are,
Yes,
actually,
exactly.
not just in Switzerland.
So if you have not seen the video, please do. Maybe not if you're very Christian, maybe not, because this will be very offensive. But otherwise, it's a great movie to see and a classic.
You should have
So
some distance to yourself.
Life of Brian, definitely. Taking shower after 10 p.m. Yes, yeah.
Well, if we were only to take showers before 10 p.m., I think we'll take showers once a week. So I'm sorry, but we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah. Yes, so I see. Oh, Antek. Hi, Antek. Good to see you. Thank you very much for joining. We're all good. How are you? How's America?
Wow, you have quite an international audience.
Yes, exactly. A lot of people joining. Thank you guys for joining. Well, let's give it 4 more minutes. There is less and less questions coming in. Our fondue is almost done here. So yeah, just to wrap up, once again, I hope you enjoy the fondue making. So it's really just the cheese. If you don't have special fondue cheese, I think you can just grate normal cheese in the mix. That's gonna work. The white wine, the garlic inside, perfect stuff. And how do you call this?
Starch.
Starch
a nutmeg.
Nutmeg, exactly. So this is how you make it. You boil it on the gas and then move it to the pot here, and that's how it works. One more question from Leila. Thank you very much. Looking forward to Rastina here. Thank you very much. If you have, as I said, I know you're going to be coming to Switzerland soon. So if you have any questions, please either post them in the comment sections of any of the videos. Please have a look at the videos. Maybe you're gonna find some more stuff that will come handy to you. And if you have like very specific questions, also don't hesitate to drop me a DM on Instagram. You will see my handle for Instagram and the about page of the YouTube channel, and also under most of the new
one more
videos.
Question. Sorry to. Hi there. What are
Oh,
are you working in
Good.
Switzerland? Is it easy, hard to find a job? Are there opportunities in IT?
Yes, so that's a great question. Yeah, well, IT is a great profession, to be honest, right now anywhere in the world. So I mean, in IT, I don't know exactly what you do, but if you're a developer, so let's say front end or back end, or if you do, for example, RPA, that's really a lot of institutions, especially the financial institutions, are really looking for that. So the IT is a big sector, and a little bit earlier in this stream, we talked about the differences between Geneva and Zurich. There's much more companies around IT in Zurich, and there's also a bigger job market in the financial industry.
That's
so
true.
within IT, I would try your chances definitely in Zurich. And once again, you can either join. There's quite a lot of nice tech startups, or fintechs, or companies around blockchain, or you can join a financial institution like banks or some kind of intermediaries, and they're always looking for. So, for example, developers which are doing chatbots, this kind of automation stuff. This is really a really big thing. So definitely. On the other hand, please do watch. I think there is this video which I made. It's called 10 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Moved to Geneva. Don't get discouraged. Looking for a job takes a fair.
Take it from me, really don't. It can you can get quite anxious. It took me 4.5 months, and I've gone to interviews, and it is very discouraging when people say no. And most of all, actually in Switzerland, I don't know what the situation is now, but I was at entry level, and I've received some rather ridiculous salary offers, which, I understand that whereas maybe there's not a lot of skill I can offer or not a lot of experience, but let's face it, it's a bit difficult to survive in Switzerland at 1,000 francs a month. So just remember
there were offers like this,
that, it's not the last chance you're going to get offered. Wait for it. Don't take the shittiest offer just because it's in Switzerland. Yeah, I think you really just have to get a lot of patience, sit back and apply. And
And actually, 4 months is actually not that bad. I've spoken to somebody who mentioned that one of the big HR agencies, I'm not going to mention any names, but one of the biggest recruiting agencies, they mentioned that across Switzerland, the average when looking for a job, when speaking the local language, so French in Geneva or German in Zurich, for example, is 8 months as an average. So that's a long time. I mean, a lot of CVs, a lot of no's, and a lot of interviews that you have to go to also hear no to get a job before. But don't get discouraged with this. You will get a job, and if you're in IT, that's really a great field to be in.
Exactly.
I mean, just knock on the doors.
Try Zug, for example. I think that, and plus it's almost a tax haven. So.
Yeah, that's a good canton also to research. As Nasia said, don't take the first offer you get. Be smart with your choices. Be critical.
I mean, people could potentially earn a lot of money here, and you shouldn't just discredit yourself.
Yeah.
Don't just take the first offer. And be picky.
Exactly, and getting the first job will be tough, but then if you have the first Swiss experience on your CV, getting every second job or every next job will be
marginally easier.
Much easier, because the Swiss really look for previous Swiss experience. And if you don't have that, it doesn't mean you can't find a job. You will, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Dude, subscribe to great content. Thank you very much. I'm so glad. Once again, I don't know if you were here before, but we are gathering 1 million subscribers before next year. And if we do that, I promise I'm going to be making rostis out of my own potatoes. What about becoming commercial pilot in Switzerland? Wow. To be honest, I'm a big geek for aviation, but I'm sorry, but I really don't know. I know that Geneva is a hub for companies operating private jets and like fleets for let's say not big commercial airlines, but let's say leasing private jets for, so not necessarily that you own a private jet, but that you want to fly a private jet, not owning one. So that's maybe something that is really kind of Geneva specific, so we can have a look into this.
But I think the question is rather about commercial, so I imagine it's rather airlines.
Yeah, right? Commercial pilots, I guess that's not, I mean, Zurich is a hub of Swiss, otherwise...
Well, Geneva is too. Well, I guess you're thinking about Swiss Air in this case, right?
Yeah. I guess
Helvetica Airlines as well, I think, are an option.
But I think maybe the best chance would be here trying those to be let's say a pilot.
Sorry, it's not really our niche.
I'm sorry, we're not experts on this. Anyways, guys, it's 82 minutes now. If you have any last questions, please don't hesitate to shoot from the both of us, and Luigi, who is somewhere lost right now. We wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. As I said, the first videos were not that good, but having a look at the last year, it was such a rewarding experience to meet some of you digitally. Actually, I met even some of you on the streets in Geneva, and this was always such a rewarding experience. Thank you for watching. Thank you for deciding to spend your evenings, mornings, days having a look at my video. I really appreciate it so much. At the end, I hope it brings you some kind of value. Thanks for all your comments or DMs, thumbs ups, and likes. We have one last question. Let's take this one. Have a great evening and look for more hiking videos. Yes, we will definitely do more hiking videos. We've been a little bit more mellow the last weeks. We haven't been hiking all that much.
Couch potatoes, Netflix and chill.
Yes, exactly. But we will make more videos about living in Switzerland, about hiking. Once again, thank you so much. It's been a very interesting experience to meet all of you the last year and today, and looking forward to more in the future. Thank you, guys. Great job missing all three of you. Thank you very much, Justina. Thank you all of you guys for joining. Thank you, Natasha, Nadia, Mariusz, Justina, Sasha, Lala, Krzyku, Xavery, Justina. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Anya, Krzysiu, and London, and my family. Thank you guys so much for your support. And see you in the next one.
And thank you for having me here, even though I'm not the star of this channel.
I think a lot of people want to see more of you than of me, from what I see recently. We'll try. Thanks guys.
Thanks. And have a great evening or day or wherever you are.
Yeah, exactly. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.